Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to talk to Becki Gray and Chris Fitzsimon. The Census Bureau is reporting that few people are turning in completed census form. Here's in North Carolina, we've only got 48% of the households that have turned in census information. Why is it so important for our citizens to complete these forms, and should we allow the deadline to be extended beyond the end of May? Chris?
Well, it's very important. I mean, so many decisions in our political and cultural and government, our lives are determined by counting people and who lives in certain states. And we want to make sure North Carolina qualifies and is accurately counted, and all the growth we've had is accurately counted when it comes to divvying up federal dollars, when it comes to dividing our state into legislative districts and congressional districts next year. This is all very important. It literally comes down to your political power, the ability to access resources. I'm not sure why. I think the obvious reason is that every state is having this, but folks are not thinking about that now. So I think two things are going on. The COVID-19 virus is dominating everybody's thoughts. They're worried, they're afraid, they don't know what's happening. And secondly, I think there might be a misconception that this is very complicated. It's not. I did it in 4 or 5 minutes online. If you don't have access, you can internet access. You can telephone a number that the post office has delivered on a card. It's very important to do. I do think we'll probably extend the deadline. It's important to get these numbers right. And finally, I do think when our political leaders, Republicans and Democrats, have a chance to take a breath, it's probably going to behoove all of them to make sure that their constituents and the public knows. I bet we'll see some public service announcements in the near future if we don't see them enough already, and that this is something that we have to get done.
There are already some running. Becki, what's your take on this? We were hoping to get another congressional seat in North Carolina. This is important.
Well, it's very important. You know, we have more representation in Washington,
Congress,
and that's absolutely, we need more. We need better people, and we need more. So, Chris mentioned the congressional districts, is one thing. How many people we have in North Carolina. This also, as Chris alluded to, is how they determine how much states get, particularly in emergency situations. So, that's right here with us. Why haven't people filled them out? I think there's a couple reasons. I think, as Chris said, people have their mind on other things.
Right.
People who are unemployed and don't have a paycheck and have a stack of bills and things to go through. This is moving to the bottom of the pile, I'm sure, for a lot of folks that are in that position. And then, Tom, I wonder, too, if maybe there isn't a little bit of mistrust of government. And we talk a lot about data and testing and that kind of information. And maybe if some people are just a little hesitant about perhaps privacy issues or those kind of things. So I think, to everyone's point, I think there's going to need to be some marketing and some communication and a PR effort to get people to understand. First of all, as Chris said, I have filled mine out too. When I saw on the card that this would be used to get emergency funds into North Carolina, it was right about the time that we were starting to talk about the COVID-19. I filled it out right away because I thought, I want my name in there, when they start counting that up. But I wonder if people are a little bit hesitant about that, and so maybe just some reassurances of trust and why it's important.
I think
will
the
give
trust
people
issue
the confidence.
I think the trust issue is a big issue, and it is sad that we are at a point when we're having a health crisis like this where we are so distrustful. And frankly, it's at almost all levels. We don't trust business. We don't trust religious leaders. We don't trust our politicians. We don't trust our federal government. It's terrible.
Well, and you're seeing, reports of information that we might share on Facebook or other places are being used in ways that we did not ever intend for it to be used for. And, the privacy and the, that we all enjoy and we cherish that, and we should. It's a constitutional right that we have the privacy and the freedom of speech and those kind of things. But one other point I just want to make with Chris, I've seen numerous lawmakers, Representative David Lewis in the House, I've seen several posts that he has made on social media encouraging people to fill out the census. So one thing, lots of people watch NC Spin, lots of influential people watch NC Spin. This might be just sort of a nudge or a reminder.
Tell everybody to fill out your census form.
Fill out your census forms, and also those of influence, encourage people to fill out their census forms. Chris and I've done it. We're still here. It was very easy.
Well,
If we did it, anybody can do it.
Chris, we could all use our distribution list for that, right?
Absolutely. And I do think I appreciate when legislators, Representative Lewis and others have done that. I looked at, I think we need all of our leaders. Everybody needs at some point to mention this to folks that pay attention to them and follow them. It's very important.
Very good. Well, thanks for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.